On the urgent need to evaluate the level of threat to Nigerians studying and living in the Ukraine caused by the outbreak of conflict between Russia and Ukraine, I further seek your indulgence for the suspension of Order 8, Rule 4.3, so that the matter may be taken immediately. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, Olumide Oshoba representing Abeokuta North, Obafemi Ode, and Odeda Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Moneo on the evacuation of Nigerian students from Ukraine. I so second.
Honorable Moneo, please move your motion.
Graduates and graduate students that are currently studying in Ukraine, of which a portion are under government scholarships. This is in addition to a number of Nigerian diplomats and their families in our Kyiv embassy and Nigerian expatriates across Ukraine. Concerned that if a strategic plan is not put in place to secure and provide safe passage for our citizens, they may be trapped or worse, harmed. The House resolves to mandate the Committees on Foreign Affairs and on Diaspora, in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to ascertain the exact figures of Nigerians that are affected by this conflict and put in place a comprehensive monitoring, evaluation, and evacuation mechanism. Mandate the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Legislative Compliance as well to ensure compliance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the government of Ukraine has already declared a state of emergency in the country, except in Donetsk and Luhansk region. And this morning, one of our former colleagues, Honorable Sani Zoro, called me that he has two nephews in Ukraine and that they are students. They have already gone into hiding and the supplies of food have ceased. That they came out from hiding this morning to look for food and water. Specifically, they are in a medical school in Zaporizhia. So the situation is already going bad. And after his call, I called the ambassador of Ukraine, who said they have issued a state conference, a press conference, and he sent me a copy of the press conference where they are advising citizens of Nigeria to remain calm and try to make personal arrangements to see how they can move to safe areas before the government can do something. Mr. Speaker, Sokoto State alone have over 500 students sponsored to study medicine in Ukraine. Taraba has hundreds of students too, and almost every state have a lot of students in Ukraine, and we have a lot of our citizens there. So I think, Mr. Speaker, this is really an urgent matter that we have to, as a country, try to make very urgent arrangements to see how we can evacuate our students, more especially our students and other citizens that would like to be evacuated, because already the place is in a state of war. And as our colleague has testified, his nephews are already stranded and they have started running out of food supply. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Leader of the House.
My distinguished colleagues, honorable members, I remain Ado Dogwa of the Ganduje-led faction of Kano APC, and I represent the good people of Dogwa Tudunwada Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hope I'm protected. The evils of the minority, please. Please.
Minority Leader, you are not recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning, Mr. Speaker, to put my weight, to add my weight to this motion that was ably moved by this young man. And I feel I should do so because it's an all-important motion that really borders on the interest of the entirety of our country, Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I remember clearly that the Democrats always say that the business of every democratic government is about safety of lives and property of the people. It is my conviction, and I believe will be the conviction of my respected members on the floor here, that a country abroad that is in war, fortunately or unfortunately, you have a chunk number of your own people, Nigerians, in that unfortunate place. For me, it's like Nigeria also residing abroad. We have a great number of our students there pursuing their educational bits, and unfortunately, this problem has engulfed this very particular nation. I want to believe that the responsibility of Nigerian government to secure lives and property of the people must be extended swiftly to our young Nigerians that are there pursuing their studies. Like the Honorable Chairman of the committee said, that in Sokoto alone, we have over 500 students. My brother, Right Honorable Sani Abdu, a former member of this important chamber from Bauchi State, called me this morning panicking that his 2 kids and indeed other kids from Bauchi State are there panicking because of the unfortunate development happening. It's like the whole place is now in war. I rise to put on record that this House will have no option than really to speak unequivocally and urge the Nigerian government to very quickly, by the speed of light, react to the need of our people abroad in Ukraine or around the Russian border. By so doing, Mr. Speaker, I believe we are therefore exercising or discharging the responsibility of the government as a government put in place by democratic procedure. Honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think this has to be done, and the motion at the moment does not even require too much debate. It is our motion. It is for the collective interest of our people, and we just have to pass it by the speed of the light. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you, my honorable brother, who is my border friend, representing Lere Federal Constituency, for bringing this important motion to the fore of this floor at this very early morning. Mr. Speaker, I also thank you for your swiftness to act very swiftly to make sure that this motion is passed and being acted upon. Committees that are relevant to the issue of compliance must also do the same with immediate alacrity. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
My only worry, to which I want to make a few comments, is that we seem to be moving a little late. For weeks, the Russian Federation massed its troops around the country of Ukraine and threatened clearly that they may invade the country. The President of the United States of America, about 4 or 5 days ago, said that he said with certainty that it was imminent that President Putin would order his forces into Ukraine. That was the period within which we should have used to evacuate our people from that country. As we speak, as at this morning, the Russian Federation has invaded the state of Ukraine from more than 10 different fronts. The airports in the capital city have been bombed out. The country itself has ordered a closure of its airspace, and people are running helter-skelter, even people who are citizens of that country, running helter-skelter, trying to find how to survive. Talk less of those who are students who are usually confined to campuses that are, as we speak, no longer safe. We ought to have made this move maybe a week ago. The opportunity existed, the threat existed. A credible intelligence said that that invasion was going to take place. Here we are now, asking or seeking for ways of removing our people from a country that is in a state of war actively. I listened to the news this morning, and the Ukrainian state is reporting that over 200 of its soldiers have been killed. None of its airports is working. How then do we intend to do this? So, as much as I sympathize with what we intend to achieve today, I think we have put the matter on the front burner a little too late. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Speaker.
you.
Honorable Engineer Chris Emeka Azubogo, I represent the good people of Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and the Okusigo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to lend my support and my voice to this all-important motion. The situation we found ourselves today in Ukraine is no more very attractive. Our words, especially a lot of Nigerian students who are in Ukraine or studying in Ukraine, are endangered. Parents have inundated me with calls this morning on what needs to be done to bring back their words. like my colleague just mentioned, that there were signs that would have acted earlier. But you will agree with me that based on international relations, it was whittled down that the attack is not imminent anymore. Everybody was speaking. So we thought that the uneventful thing that happened this morning wouldn't have happened. But the truth is that we must look for how best to evacuate our citizens who are locked up in Ukraine, especially the students, because their case is very, very, very unique. A whole number of our students, our wards are in Ukraine. So I am pleading, and I'm joining and lending my voice to this prayer of this motion, that the federal government should rise up to the occasion and do the needful to look for how best to evacuate our citizens in Ukraine, especially the students. Mr. Speaker, that is my position on this. Thank you.
Honorable Abejide.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, as you have said, I don't want to repeat what my colleagues have said. I just want to say this, that a stitch in time saves 9. And we have somebody in this country that is very humane and is ever ready in this type of situation. Chairman Airpeace, we should appeal to him the way he did it before. I believe if we reach out to him, he can help us in this situation. He actually helped us before, and I believe if this house reaches to him without taking much time, because if we want to follow the bureaucracy, it will be too late. So please, this is just what I want to say, that this man that is ever ready in this type of situation should be contacted. Thanks so much, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues.
Whether officially or unofficially, we have a problem now. What I want to amend is to ask the Foreign Affairs Ministry to summon the Russian ambassador, Foreign Affairs Committee through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to tell him the situation of Nigerians in Ukraine, because they are indirectly now in charge of Ukraine. So there is need to intimate the Russian embassy, since it's a sovereign country with Nigeria, so that Nigerians should be well protected.
Those in support of the amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Those in support of the amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nays have it.
Mr. Speaker, I come under section 39, which talks about right to freedom of expression. Mr. Speaker, when my colleague and the leader of the House was trying to make his submission, he alluded to the fact that there is a fashion in Kano State. As a matter of fact, he quoted that he belongs to Ganduje fashion. And based on that submission, I raised a little voice to acknowledge the fact that he's in a fashion, in APC. And I've tried several times to raise up my hand to contribute to this all-important motion moved by Honorable Muni from Lere Federal Constituency, a man that I found to be very intelligent. And it appears that there is some kind of connivance to deprive my voice and the voice of my federal constituency not to be heard, because I have somebody in that Ukraine doing her PhD.
Point of order, Mr.
So that's your point of order is freedom of expression.
Point of order.
Okay, I'm not going to let you go from point of order to debating the issue.
Yes.
All right. So on your point of order, let me rule on your point of order, which is that your freedom of expression has been violated.
And it's
now,
indirectly.
your constitutional provision or your constitution has to be read together with our rules to make sense. Under the rules, there is no freedom of expression that has been suppressed. There are 359 members on the floor. If you have a freedom of expression and anytime you raise your hand you must speak, then so does every other person. And I don't think that the Constitution requires or envisages in a situation where to protect freedom of expression, on every topic, all 359 members must speak. So you are ruled out of order.
Mr. Speaker, you know he is used to the PDP constitutions. Don't blame him.
So we put the Honorable Oshoba had an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure there'll be a ceasefire window very soon. So my amendment is that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, together with the diaspora, starts negotiations with both countries and be fully involved when there's going to be a ceasefire window so we can evacuate them when that happens. Thank you.
Time is of the essence. As was stated by the Foreign Affairs Chairman, which we all know, a state of emergency has been declared. Listening to the news yesterday, even America said it's not going to be bloodless, that the invasion is not going to be bloodless. And much as we should have been more proactive, like Honorable Hembe said, I think it's better late than never. And I think it's important at this point to forget all the bureaucratic bottlenecks. I think what is important now, if we actually have to look out for our citizens, especially the students, I think action needs to be taken now. And my thought is that the leader of the House and the chairman of Foreign Affairs, are you prepared to jet off to Ukraine tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
I think the leader of the House, the chairman of Foreign Affairs, should liaise with the Foreign Affairs Ministry today.
With all sense of responsibility, sir.
If nothing positive comes out of that meeting and it's all about red tape, or we have to do this, we have to do that, I think you should liaise with the chairman airpiece.
Yes.
And whatever it's going to cost the House, whatever we need to do, I think we need to leave this, you need to leave this country latest tomorrow and head to Ukraine and head on back by Monday with as many students or citizens who are willing to come back.
Yes,
I think that's very important.
With all sense of responsibilities, I will do that. After all, the national pledge says to defend our honor and glory, and so help us God.
Both the prayers of the motion and the addition that the leader of the House and the chairman of Foreign Affairs meet with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and all things being equal, everything sorted, liaise with the embassy in Ukraine, get out of here tomorrow and come back on Monday with as many of the stairs as possible.
Agreed, sir. But
those in favor, please say aye.
Yeah.
Those against, please say nay.
Mr. Speaker, a
Aye,
small
sir.
amendment to your ruling. While the two of us are going, sir, I would like to plead with you to allow Honorable Gore to join us too, so that whatever happens here, it will be myself and Goro.